Alright, time for another video. Got my inspiration going here. Okay, so look, if you've been listening to my rants or reading any of my stuff on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of my tweets, there's a couple phrases that I use often that probably should be clarified. One is WASP. WASP is a term sociologists popularized in the early 1960s. It stands for White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. WASPs were the original filthy rich people. They came here, they owned the early boats that came to America. By the time my ancestors got here in the late 1800s and the early 1900s from Italy, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants owned almost everything, hoarded almost all the wealth, ran almost everything, owned almost everything. So when I talk about white people, I really mean WASPs. Today they're a small minority, but they still control almost all the wealth, almost all the political power and influence, and much of the property. So that's what that's about. So when I say white people, if you're not a WASP, especially if you're not a rich WASP, don't get nervous. I'm not talking to you. If you're one of those 1%ers to 5%ers, then you can be nervous. Okay. Another phrase I use every time I refer to Donald Trump, if I say president, it's in single or double quotes, and I usually preface the words with hateful, lunatic, demagogue. And those aren't random words. Anyone who heard his announcement, when he announced that he was running, talking about illegal Mexicans, rapists, murderers, drug dealers. Okay, if you don't know that Trump is hateful, well, you're bad. All right, lunatic is a popular, colloquial word, but I use that word as a shorthand for the fact that Trump is profoundly mentally disturbed. What he suffers from is called narcissistic personality disorder. You don't have to believe me. Hundreds of mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, insight therapists, hundreds have publicly stated that he suffers from narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, I don't give a shit even if you're not a formally trained social psychologist like me. Just listen to the fucking idiot and tell me you don't think he's mentally ill. Okay, listen to him responding to the Sig Heils of his lunatic base at his rallies, and tell me he's not a sick fucking piece of shit. Okay, so that's the word lunatic. Now, demagogue, kiddies, you might have to just Google that. That's a big word, okay? Probably the most famous demagogue in modern times was Adolf Hitler, okay? And I'll just let you Google it, I guess. And while you're reading about Hitler's rise to power in Germany in the 1930s, tell me you don't see a parallel between Hitler and Donald Trump. Okay, so that's hateful, lunatic, demagogue in a nutshell. So I covered white people. I really mean WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. I really mean the 1% or the 5% of WASPs, because they're so greedy they don't even share with their own kind. So most WASPs are not filthy rich, just that cocksucker top 1 to 5%. All right. And Trump, cray-cray, okay? If you like colloquial, then narcissistic personality disorder is kind of hard to say. Cray-cray, pretty easy to say. But you don't have to believe me. At DSM-5, just Google DSM-5, you can get the diagnostic checklist, and you can go through it, and he gets a perfect score. Every characteristic of narcissistic personality disorder Trump suffers from, or exhibits, every single one, okay? So just check that out. All right, save the best for last. I always refer to Trump's, I've been saying 35%, apparently it's down to 32%, so that's heartwarming. It's dropped 10% in recent weeks. His minority lunatic base, I always refer to them as his lunatic base, or when I have the time and space, his hateful, fearful, willfully ignorant lunatic base. Okay? So what are those words? Let's break that down. First, for the idiots, who say not every Trump supporter, that's a lie. Not every Trump supporter. All right, so we'll give you that. Is it in principle possible that a couple of his supporters are not white racists? Yeah, it's possible. In principle, is it possible that some of them graduated, from college or have a advanced degree? Yeah, it's possible. Is it possible that some of them have a full mouth of teeth? Yeah, it's possible. Is it possible that some of them, make more than $15,000-$20,000 a year at Walmart? It's possible. So we'll give all of that. Okay. Is it possible? Hey, how are you? Is it possible they're not white, racist, evangelical, Christian, fundamentalist lunatics? Yeah, it's possible. Okay? So, if you know a Trump supporter that's any of those things, I'm not talking about them now. I'm talking about the core Trump supporter, the lunatic who still tells pollsters, "I'm with him. I like him. He's a change agent. He's shaking things up. He's a millionaire, a billionaire. He's going to turn things around. Those jobs are coming tomorrow." Those are the idiots I'm talking about. Now, what's the deal with me? Why do I hate them so viscerally? Because I lived among them for 12 fucking years in Indiana. My father, aerospace engineer, headed the marketing division of Allison Division of General Motors. He moved us there against our will from a wonderful blue state, New Jersey, in late 1966. I was 16 goddamn years old. Moved us to Indianapolis, Lawrence, just outside of Indianapolis, northeast. Just you can Google Maps it. Anyhow, he moved us there. My idea of a conservative was William F. Buckley and George Will. Okay, I never encountered fundamentalist, evangelical, Christian, racist, lunatic, literalist, Bible literalist until I moved lived in Indiana as a political prisoner of conscience. I ended up going to college there, meeting a really hot WASP chick, Patricia, marrying her, going to grad school, having 3 kids with her, and was with her for 12 years. It just took, the first time Elizabeth, went down on me, I knew whatever I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. Hey, being married to Pat was not it, but I digress. So, hateful, fearful people. What I mean by that is, the easiest way is just to tell you a skit. Here's my model Hoosier. Hoosier, what a great name. The Hoosier State. Fucking redneck, racist, Ku Klux Klansmen, idiots. This is my skit that is Indiana in a shorthand. Okay? Flathead and his wife are sitting on the porch. And he sees something he's never seen before. And he says, he squints, he says, "Look over there, Martha. What the hell is that? I've never seen that before. What the hell? Get my gun, I'm going to shoot it." Okay? That's the kind of fucking idiots that voted for Trump and still support him. All right? It's not called the flyover heartland for nothing. All right? Low population, low education, low skills, flathead country. They're called flatheads because they're inbred. They like to have sex with their daughters. Oh, just like Trump. According to rumors, I don't have any proof of that. His daughter ain't talking, not yet, anyway. So they're fearful of people they've never met: Hispanics, Italians, African Americans, illegal immigrants. They've never seen an illegal immigrant in their life. Illegal, fucking idiots. They've never seen, in Indiana they don't have, they don't have strawberry patches, so they don't need to import they don't need to import non-registered workers from Latin America to pick strawberries for 50 cents a day in Indiana. But they hate them. They've never seen them, but they hate them. Italians, that's what they used to call me. Oh, you're an Italian. No, asshole, I'm an Italian. It's like a upside down E sound. In a dictionary, you know what those are, right? It's like a book with words in it. I usually would lose them at the word dictionary. Now, willfully ignorant as opposed to just ignorant. If you're born mentally challenged, all right, or if you're born by totally ignorant parents, and you never watched a TV news program, you never listened to NPR on the radio, you never read a book, okay, in principle you could be ignorant, but not willfully so. But if you're living in America in the 21st century, with easy access to libraries, the internet, books, radios, National Public Radio is a good start. If you're living in the 21st century in America and you're still ignorant, you can't really say that it's an accident. Therefore, hence, willfully ignorant. Now, here's a cool thing about fear and ignorance. And there's a lot of research that shows this. Fear and ignorance are primitive emotions. They come from what people that study the brain call the reptilian brain. It's that little brain stem in the bottom there in the back. Looks just like a reptile's brain. Sorry, evangelical Christians. Evolution is real. Yeah, you idiots. Domini. That ain't how it happens, stupid. Evolution, cosmic evolution, and terrestrial evolution. That's the ticket. Anyway, I digress. So, fear and ignorance are fear and hate are primitive emotions, and they literally turn off your higher brain functions, your cortex, your frontal lobes. What people out east and out west, those elites, what we call your brain. All right. Cerebral cortex, that's that really pretty thing across the top of the outside of your brain. That's where the thinking happens for people who think. So, under extreme fear and or hate, that turns off. All right? That's how rednecks can say, I beat my wife to death, but I don't know what happened. I just kind of blacked out and saw red, and when I woke up, I was holding a hammer, and she was dead. All right, that's because their hate for their wife turned their brain off, and they literally don't remember because their brain was turned off. Now, if you deliberately expose yourself to hate and fear, well, that's really kind of willful, isn't it? So you don't really get credit for that ignorance. That's why it's hence willful. But here's the problem. That's the thing that demagogues like Trump exploit. All right, they exploit that natural mechanism where hate and fear turns your brain off. Now, why would a Homo sapien have that little deal? Well, because 100,000 years ago, if I'm in Africa walking on the savannah, and a tiger, jumps out of the tall grass, I don't really have time to think about mortality or weigh my options. I'm not going to want to be thinking. I'm going to want to be either fighting to the death against this tiger, or I'm going to be running really, really fast to the nearest tree. And so by turning off your higher brain functions and flooding you with adrenaline, it lets you fight really, really better than you would otherwise, or it lets you run really faster than you would otherwise. So that's why that mechanism exists. Now, how do you defeat that? Well, if you're a Hoosier or if you live in the flyover states, you don't defeat it. You love it. You live in it. If you're an elite like me or people on the West Coast, you do that with enlightenment and meditation. And it turns out it's pretty easy to turn that switch back on. You feel the hate, you feel the fear, you feel yourself losing conscious control, and then you go bloop, and you turn off the reptilian brain. You look at the fear, you look at the hate. All right? I hate these motherfucking cocksuckers that voted for Trump. All right? I hate them. I've been calling for a Civil War do-over now for a couple months, where we kill every last one of them. All right, that's the reptilian brain. But then more recently, I remembered that in 2013, September, January, February, March, April 2013 to be exact, I proposed in a great article in Op-Ed News, Jesus Land, let the red states secede. All right, and so, although I hate these motherfuckers, and it would give me great satisfaction to saturation bomb half a dozen to a dozen red states and to kill every last Trump supporter and sympathizer, what, 5 million people maybe, that would give me great satisfaction. But that's the reptilian brain. So my higher brain, my enlightened Buddha brain, tells me just let the motherfuckers leave the union. Okay? And so if you agree like me that these idiots have been made irreconcilable by their great white savior, Donald Trump, if you agree they're not going to go back under their rocks or back in the closet, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to, then after the 2018 midterms, when we throw the Republican majority out of the Congress, after we impeach Trump in the House, convict him in the Senate, remove him from office in disgrace, bring him to trial in a federal court, convict him of treason, and publicly execute him. After all of that, his lunatic base are going to have to decide what they want to do. And rather than just let him take to the streets and slaughtering them all, which I'm down with, I mean, I'm willing to go that way, we should offer them the option of voluntarily voting to leave the union. My proposal, you can find it. I'll put a link in it next to this video somehow. Check it out. If you like it, you know, call your congressman, call your senator. I think we could make this happen by 2020 probably. The plebiscite would happen in 2020, and we'd have like maybe a 4-year transition. So to give all the gays, lesbians, transgendered, and bi people, and people with master's degrees, and corporations that aren't Walmart, give them time to flee the states that are going to leave the union. Give the federal government time to pull all of our assets out of those red states, because that all comes with us. We're not leaving any of that for those dumbasses. They don't get any of our nuclear weapons. They don't get any of our bombers, any of our fighters, any of our military people. If they want to resign from the military and join the red states of America, they're welcome to do that. But if they want to stay in the reconstituted United Blue States of America, then they got to move away from those red states. Areas in the heartland where we have big missile silo fields, we'll just make those federal preserves. We'll surround them by a fence. Hey, Trump, what do you think of that? Surround them by a fence and guard them, and if any rednecks try to take over the missile silos, we'll just annihilate them. So the upside of this thing is we don't have to kill 10 million people, 10 million people, satisfying as that would be. America instantly, as soon as they leave, America becomes not just a Democratic majority country, it becomes an overwhelmingly Democratic majority country. The red states become, theocracies. That's why I call it Jesus Land. But the other thing that's beautiful about that is once they secede, we have a powerful, excellent socialist democracy to our north, Canada. We have a struggling, but it's going to make it, democracy to our south, Mexico. And then we have basically a third world kind of sprinkled around us, which will be the Jesus Land, or fucked up a stand, whatever they're going to call themselves. White power, rah rah. Their symbol will be the Confederate flag. Maybe they'll adopt the Confederate flag, which would be cool. No military, no assets. Only about 20% of the population. I think we can get by. So let's stop this thing. Let's give this some thought, and maybe we can make this happen by 2020. Peace out, Andrew Paul Scatino. Why Women Are So Problematic: A Memoir in Irreverent, Whimsical Polemic. That's the book I'm trying to finish. If you check out my GoFundMe page, give me some bread, $5 minimum. You can surely spare $5 to make this book happen. Give me a $50 donation. I'll send you a signed, a personal autographed copy of the book. And for bigger donations, I'll come to your house and do stand-up. You can invite all your rich yuppie friends. I mean, my sister Marie is rich. She can tell you what a blast it is having me interact with your rich friends. Here's a clue. At some point, I'm likely to say, hey, you know, Joseph Stalin purportedly had a great quote when a capitalist journalist asked him after the revolution, you know, we hear rumors that you're oppressing the rich. How do you respond to that? And the translator nervously translated. Joseph Stalin laughed his ass off. His cigarette almost fell out of his mouth. He almost dropped his vodka shot glass. Took a hit of the cigarette, took a hit of the vodka, and then very calmly and jabbing the reporter with his finger, purportedly said, "Why tax the rich when I can kill them?" Yeah, that was the end of the interview. Wall Street Journal, that was the dumb fucking reporter. Wall Street Journal. Can you imagine? Joe Stalin had already killed I don't know how many tens of millions of people. This reporter is going to take him on with a gotcha question. You know, oppress the rich. I'm not oppressing them. I'm just fucking pulling them out of their houses, lining them up in front of their mansions, and blowing their fucking heads off. What are you talking about? I'm not oppressing them. I'm liberating them from their bodies. So I can be entertaining, you can imagine, over hors d'oeuvres. Okay, so check out my book. Check out my, Google my name, SCHETTINO. You can find all my shit. Got lots of documents, lots of stuff on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. So check it all out. Okay? Peace out.